everybody, and welcome to our Facebook Live interview. For those of you who have been following these interviews, you know that we have been interviewing the judges for the 2018 AOI National Awards program that's launching next year. And so far, we've interviewed John DeGarmo and Steve Walsh. And today, we are very happy to have with us Chris Chmielewski. And he is the founder and editor of Foster Focus magazine. But of course, he's not just that. He's a lot more. So first of all, welcome, Chris, to you. And so happy to have you here with us today. So glad you could make it.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
All right. Well, I want to go ahead and ask you first, if you could, just tell us about yourself, Chris. What do you do in life that relates to foster care?
Well, I'm an adoptee and former foster kid, and around 6 years ago, I started Foster Focus. It's the nation's only monthly foster care magazine, and it's found in all 50 states, I think a dozen countries across the world, and it's going all right. It's going pretty well.
Yes, absolutely. And I've actually, I've written an article for Foster Focus magazine and have read many, many others. So if you're in foster care, if you're a foster care professional, social worker, therapist, anyone who works with foster kids, it's definitely a magazine worth looking into. And do you want to give the URL, Chris, in case people are interested in checking you out?
Sure. It's fosterfocusmag.com. Pretty easy.
All right. And you were a former foster youth yourself, as was I. I aged out at the age of 18 down in North Carolina. And did you age out, or were you adopted?
No, I was adopted before I went into care. And I aged out, I think around 19, almost 20.
All right. All right. Great. Well, today we're here talking about the awards program. And I want to just remind folks that the awards program is designed to recognize foster caregivers and organizations that are doing great things to help youth age out of foster care. Those folks who are finding success with the strategies that they're using. And so I approached Chris quite a while ago, actually, asking about being a judge. And I was just wondering, Chris, if you could share what motivated you when you heard about this to participate and be a judge for the first year of this program.
Well, you wouldn't leave me alone. Phone calls and emails, and finally I broke down and said, if you promise not to call me for a week, that I'll be happy to judge. And that's
right.
It's a good idea. It's great to give shine and attention to the people that are doing the work and doing it well. And I like awards. I got a couple. I don't put them out in the open because I'm so humble. It's one of my greatest qualities is how humble I am. How I never talk about how great I am being humble. No, it's always real good. People like it. And anytime we can make people in this field who don't really get to feel great all the time, anytime we can get a little boost, it's always a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I also want to share that Foster Focus magazine has put out their own awards. Aging Out Institute is very specific to strategies for aging out of foster care, but you also started an award program. Do you want to just share a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, I meet so many people and I go so many places. I rarely leave the office, but when I do, it's to go on a big cross country, meet 10,000 people type of deal. And I've been fortunate to meet some great people. And I just wanted to kind of like what you're doing. I wanted to say thank you to them for the work that they do. And I wanted to give the magazine, an award that we don't have to gather for because everybody knows I don't like to leave this office. I have everything I need here. There are movies, there are fish. I mean, there's soda in the refrigerator. It's pretty great. Anyway, I wanted to have a cool, different kind of award. So what I did was I found former foster youth, alumni of care, whatever you want to call them, that are famous, and then I put their what they're known for, what they're like. Dr. Ruth was always on the cutting edge of things, and so we gave an award, the Dr. Ruth Award, to a group that was on the cutting edge of things, and so like that. There's a bunch of really good awards. Good people won those awards. You can find those on the magazine's website. There's a big archive on the website with everything that I've done. And it's pretty much my favorite page on the site. It's all the covers, and that's my favorite thing, is to put the covers together.
Yeah.
So if you go through there, you'll find the awards issue, and you can check that out, see who won. I'll forget people. I do so much. I mean, so many people. I don't want to forget anyone, so I'm not going to insult anyone by trying to name a list of the people that won. It's online if you want to look.
Right. One thing I just want to share with the viewers is we were hoping this wouldn't happen, but unfortunately, with the connection that we have, you'll see that Chris's video is freezing up occasionally, but the audio should still be coming through fine. So just be patient. He'll come back live eventually. But I just want to give you a heads up. We knew this might happen. We were hoping it wouldn't, but unfortunately it is. All right, great. Chris, so I have another question. So there are 4 award categories: housing, education, employment, and relationships. And tell us, what is it with the category that you'll be judging that is important to include? So why is it important rather to include that category in this awards program?
Well, I've got employment, and I just want to say, as far as the camera issues go, I'm very aware of my face. I'm opening my mouth just a little bit so I don't have an embarrassing still frame. But the award that I'm responsible for is the employment award, and I think I got that because I've had more jobs than any other person on the planet. I've been fired for more gigs than most people, so I've got a vast experience in a range of areas. And it's important because it's, if we're talking about aging out specifically, it's one of our hurdles. It's one of the big things that keeps us from succeeding right out of the gate. Like most, youth who leave their home, they have a job. And then generally when you age out, you have an idea that it's coming, but there's always the hope and the chance that you're going to stay in there a little longer. You can sign something to keep yourself in care, so you have more time to develop. And when that doesn't happen, not having a job that's a big handicap to work through. And so hopefully we're going to find some groups that focus on that area of the world, and maybe point some kids in that direction and give them a leg up, as it were.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I know that you're mentioning your own struggles with finding a steady employment. That is certainly one of the biggest challenges when you're aging out of foster care, particularly if you don't have the adult support that some do. And so for those who don't, it really is a challenge to be able to acquire the job, but because you have to know how to find a job, you have to know how to interview, how to fill out applications, what people are looking for in an employee, and all of those things. And if you haven't been prepared, then you're really going to struggle. And so that's one of the things we're looking for. Organizations that support youth who are aging out to be able to find a job, or foster caregivers who are doing a really good job preparing the youth before they leave, so that they, when they do age out, can hit the ground running as far as finding jobs. And so that's great. And we really appreciate your assistance. And you also have a wealth of knowledge about a variety of different programs and the strategies that they use. So that's one of the reasons why I was really hoping you'd participate in this, is just because you're, you get around, right? You know of so many programs, so many people. And so your knowledge base is really valuable from our perspective to this awards program.
Well, I'm a social butterfly. I'm trying to contain my personality so that your interview goes quickly. But yeah, people come to me to tell me what they're doing. A lot of them in the planning stages, which I get a big kick out of, because then I get to watch them grow into an actual entity and then watch them become successful, watch the world catch up. I always feel like one of those hipster kids. Like, I know about a band that you don't know about. And then as soon as you know about them, I don't think they're cool anymore. So, but in this case, I still think they're cool. Right. But yeah, it's really neat to kind of know what's going to happen before it happens. And it also gives me an interesting ability to give advice on the subject. Because like I said, a lot of people tell me their plans and what they're going to do. and I've seen where these things can fail, and I've seen where these things can be successful. So people tend to come to me and ask, I'm thinking about doing this. I was going to go with this approach. What are your thoughts? And I can say, well, what you're doing sounds a lot like what this person did. And maybe they may not overlap services, but I can say, well, here's how this person went from, people knowing about her in her kitchen to, being on CNN or something to that effect. So, yeah, I do get around. I'm a social butterfly.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to get your feedback on is that we just added 2 new awards to the awards program. Besides the categories that we have and we mentioned, we also are going to be giving out potentially 2 additional awards. And the first one is an innovation award. So this is the idea where you have an organization or caregivers who are really particularly creative and innovative in the strategies that they use to help youth aging out of foster care. And we want to recognize them for that effort. And we also have an award for organizations or caregivers that have strategies in all 4 categories. So they apply in all 4 categories, 4 different applications. And if we find an organization or foster caregiver that has a really solid integrated set of services, umbrella services, if you will, that cover all 4 categories, we want to be able to recognize that because it's so important to make sure that all of that is addressed when you're helping these youth. So I was just curious, knowing about these 2 new awards, what you think about having them incorporated into the program.
Well, you told me about them about 5 minutes ago, and I nearly walked out of the interview. I don't like surprises, and this came out. It's a great idea. It's a fantastic idea. What folks miss out on, what they don't, what I find, and I'm in a different field than you are. I have a little bit, my set of problems is a little different than your set of problems. But what I find is that when it comes to marketing, which is what this is, if you win this award, you can tell people about it. And there'll probably be an article in the magazine about it, and I know you'll do stuff on your end with it. So you're going to get a bunch of eyes on you. Here's what folks forget. In the nonprofit world, the magazine's not a nonprofit, but I deal almost exclusively with nonprofits. In the nonprofit world, your number one want is funds. Your number one need is money. You need donors to get that money. You need people to know who you are to get the donors to get you that money. The magazine, an award situation like this is a great opportunity for you to tell people what you do, get an award, more than likely find some donors or volunteers or people who care about what you're doing because they didn't know about it. And pretty soon those people are just as passionate as you are about what you were doing. And they're volunteering their time, they're volunteering their money, they're telling their friends who are doing the same. This is what an award can do. This is what the magazine can do. We're in a different time now. No politics involved. We're just at a different time as far as funding is concerned. And all the money that used to be there for you is no longer there. And you need to figure out where that money is going to come from. And that money is going to come from the private sector. It's going to come from volunteers. It's going to come from philanthropic people who are happy to give some of their time and money to help you do what you're doing. I'm sure you know some people like that. I'm sure you've got a couple people in your camp like that. And those are valuable, important people to have. And an award is a great way to say, look, not only am I doing something that's great, but it's worthy of people paying attention to it. It's worthy of an award. I'm doing the best at what I do, and you can help me make it better. I'm way better at pitching other people's stuff than I am with the magazine's advertising, or I'd be talking to you from a mansion or a helicopter. But the people in this field need to start getting it into their heads that they need donors, they need people volunteering, and the best way to do that is to get your name out there, get your brand out there, tell people what you do, because a lot of you have some funny names for your groups. And you need to clarify what it is you do. The age out is pretty specific. You get what we're doing here. The foster, pretty specific. You get what we're doing here. One simple wish, pretty specific. There's a wish, it's simple, it's only one. simple. But there's some that, like, can you tell me what any of the Casey families do? No, because you have to go to their website and you have to make sure you have the right Casey family thing. And then, so this is good for your group if you were to apply and win this award. This is going to set you apart. It's going to make it so people know who you are. And that's, in the years to come, that's going to be of paramount importance that people know who you are, because nonprofits pop up all the time. And to have people know who you are, there's no downside to that.
Well, I don't have to pitch the program anymore. I appreciate it. That's great. You did a great job. But you did actually segue into my next question without even knowing it. And that is...
Or maybe I did.
Yes, you mentioned marketing and getting people to know who you are. We're going kind of a step beyond saying, yay, this program did a great job. We're actually having their strategies written up into white papers or strategy papers that we're going to share with the entire foster care community on the Aging Out Institute website. So that's one step further to be able to communicate not only that they're doing well, yes, but how exactly it is that they're doing what they do, so that other people can learn from them and apply, pick and choose the strategies that look like would really fit in your program and apply them and try them and see how they work. So I was just wondering, Chris, what your thoughts are on that strategy of taking it a step further like this to share out the details.
Well, I don't like extra work. That's just me. But the nerds in this field love the white paper. They do. You're not nerds. You're all very important people. Really like their jobs. And dig the technical aspect of it. I think it's great. I think clarity is very important in foster care. Really important now in an age of transparency where, me specifically, I don't have a break room really. So I go on Facebook. And so I post a bunch, and that's how the world gets to know me. And so there's no secrets. Everybody knows what I did today. Nothing. Didn't do a darn thing. Watch a couple episodes of Scrubs. That's it. Took it out, got ready for this. Now, the rest of my day and night are full of magazine work, but the mornings, those are Chris's. And if you were my friend on Facebook, you'd already know that. So we live in a world of transparency, and these white papers are really, if I understand it correctly, really going to spell out what each group does and what their contribution is to foster care as a whole. And again, I see no downside to that. Copyright your stuff before, you send it in so nobody tries to steal what you do. But other than that, it's a great thing to give these people more insight into the day-to-day maybe operations, or maybe like where specific focuses are located, where we're going to focus our attention. So yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. He's done a really good job. Now, let me just switch it up, because I told you this could happen. You're interviewing an editor, a reporter background. We already talked about why you came up with it, but you stuck with it, and that's something that people generally don't do. Anybody can come up with an idea. To follow all the way through is different. What makes Lynn get up every day and go, okay, AOI, let's have at it? Because for me, it's fear. But what is it for you?
Well, it's a great question. I appreciate you asking. As I mentioned, I was in foster care. And as an older youth, from 10th grade to when I aged out at 18, which is after I graduated from high school, because I graduated young, that experience of aging out was actually quite good for me, because we had ended up with foster parents who were in the foster care system as foster parents, but they also were extended family, right? So I ended up having extended family who could be there and support myself and my sister when we left foster care officially, and answer questions, and they helped teach us skills before we left, and help drive us to college and encourage us to get our degrees and all of that. So I had a very positive experience, but I also know that so many kids don't. So many kids age out without that support. And so I just felt in my heart that it was important to do something. I worked for 14 years at Milton Hershey School, which is a residential school for at-risk youth. And I really loved my time there, and I felt I was contributing to helping youth in that way. But I wanted to do something more. And so I came up with this idea years ago. I actually started Aging Out Institute in 2010. And since then, I gained the skill set of running actually a global awards program. So I ran a global awards program for a few years with a team of people. And I learned how to do what I'm doing now. And I felt, I've got this drive to do something for foster youth. I have the skill set to run a large scale awards program. I want to put them together because I believe that we can find those strategies that are actually working out there in the foster care community. But because everybody's siloed in counties and states, they're not getting spread out. People aren't finding out about the details. How are they finding their funding? How are they actually running? What steps do they go through to find the youth they're going to serve? What resources do they need? People, time, and money. How are they getting all of those? Those kinds of details. That's really going to help a lot of people improve their programs or start new programs. And I think just because the outcome has the potential to improve the statistics of youth aging out of foster care, if we can spread the best practices, then that's what motivates me, because I think it can make a real difference.
See, you just nerded out like those people that like the white paper.
That's me.
I'm not going to get angry that I didn't win one of your global awards. It's fine. I'm not upset. Now, when you think about what you'd like to see at the end of this, with just this first year, I know you want to grow it and make it bigger as the years go on. The end of the first year, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a mixture of known entities and groups that nobody knows about? Or, not for nothing, but in my first year, I got my second year, I guess it was, I got Dave Thomas and I got the Fosters from TV. So that was my goal, the top of the top. I wanted the biggest names, so then the little names would, feel like they deserve to be in the magazine too. Are you hoping for, just big banging ones, or are you hoping to get a nice mix of smaller groups and groups that are already known?
That's a good question. I'm really hoping that it's a mix, because we're looking for caregivers too. We're looking for foster parents who are doing great things to help prepare youth. Nobody's going to know these folks except people in their immediate circles, in their agency. So that's automatically going to be a group that will be unknown, if you will. And the other caregivers are house parents or staff at group homes. So they also can apply for awards. So these are going to be probably the folks that are not going to be as well known. Absolutely want to recognize them, because there are going to be some really gems of strategies in there as well. But sure, if the big names, the big name organizations want to apply and their strategies, really do rise to the top of the assessment, then we want to recognize them as well. So I can absolutely see it being a mix when we're done.
Okay, you can ask me a question again.
All right. Well, I think we're actually pretty close to our time. So I want to just ask, Chris, you've shared some really great thoughts and ideas. If there's anybody on the fence, I like asking this question. If there's anybody on the fence, not really quite sure if they want to apply, because the application is going to be very detailed and it's going to take some time to fill out. What would you, I know you've already pitched the award program, but what would you say to those people to kind of help change their minds and encourage them to apply?
Well, you're being lazy. Just nothing good ever came from no work at all. Except maybe the Kardashians. But that's another interview. Of course it's going to be difficult, because it's going to be something valuable to you at the end of it. I mean, I could have easily just kept selling cars like I did before the magazine, because I was really, really good at it, and I made a lot of money. But no, I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to prove my worth. And I guess, that's kind of the same thing. You're putting out there what the work you've done is, and now you're saying, okay, I invented this wheel. And I know it doesn't make sense to you right now, but if you let me show you how my wheel works, then I guarantee you're going to become the biggest fan of the wheel. And that's how that happens. So you have to put your work out there, let people know what you do, and if you've got a good product, if you've got a good service, if you're doing the right thing, then we're going to recognize that, and you're going to get to tell people, you won an award because you're the best at it. Basically, that's what I do every time I win an award. I walk around for like 2 straight weeks just going, I'm the best. No, seriously, you don't understand. People gave me an award. They know that I'm the best. But again, it's my humbleness, Lynn, that makes me so unique.
That's what you mentioned. Yes.
I'm so humble. I don't think I mentioned it enough, to be honest with you. I've had a great time talking to you, Lynn, and I know we're going to wrap up. I just wanted to tell you that I think this is a great idea. I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm going to be more like the Paula Abdul of the judges. Everybody's great. This is so fantastic. I'll let somebody else be Simon Cowell. But it's a great program. It's a great awards program. I think it's going to be great for the people who apply. I encourage them all to apply, but not too many people, because I have a national magazine to run. So, I'm going to be doing some applications on this. So, minimum. No, I'm just kidding. Just as many as you got. I put away the time for this. I'm happy to see what you guys are doing out there.
And I'll tell you what, we are allowing the judges 4 months to go through the application. So, we did that not knowing how many applications we would get. It's a national program, so we didn't know exactly, but we wanted to make sure that people who have very busy lives in their full-time jobs, they're going to be looking at these applications on their own time, and we wanted to make sure they had enough time to do that.
3 weeks, I'm telling you, 3 months and 3 weeks, that's when I'll probably start. I can't help it. I know it's going to happen. Just, like you got this interview, like you got me to do the awards, just stay on me, just yell at me. I'll get it done for you.
All right. I'll keep on you, Chris. And for those who are watching, we did put up the rules for the awards program on the website, agingoutinstitute.org. You can go and look at those if you're interested. On January 1st, on that page at the bottom, I'm forcing people to scroll through the rules before they get to their request form. You can fill out a request form to get your application. And so that's how it all works. On January 1st, that will be there for you. And also, I wanted to let everyone know that we're going to have a fundraising campaign starting on December 1st. It will go for a month, and we're doing it through startsomegood.com. That's a platform where you can initialize programs like this for social good. And so we decided that would be a perfect partner for us in this campaign. So I'll be sending out links through our social media. And so you'll have a link to be able to go in there. And specifically, we're looking to raise money to be able to pay a freelance writer who could go and write these strategy papers that we've talked about. I'm a halfway decent writer, but I'd really like to hire somebody who's very good at it to take the applications and be able to write up some, there's a good writer, to be able to write up really good strategy papers for the program, as well as some additional website work. And all that will be there in the campaign page. So look for that there. So Chris, thank you so much for your time today. I'm really had a good time talking with you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching today. And we will have more interviews in the future. So keep your eye on the events page of our Facebook feed, and you'll be able to see those there. Any final thoughts, Chris?
Fosterfocusmag.com. It's adoption month, and it's almost Christmas. The magazine is a great gift for both of those reasons. Plus, I'm an adoptee and a former foster kid. It's really it's really wrong if you don't get the magazine. Like on a moral level, your car is going to be all kind of messed up. So do yourself a favor, fosterfocusmag.com. Get yourself a subscription. There's bulk rates for agencies or advertise, all those things. Thanks for having me, Lynn. I had a good time.
Awesome. I did too. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.